The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audience. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Llama Show. I'm the Big Llama. This is the Be Kind Rewind podcast where we review movies and talk about our love of movies. And today's offering, the movie that we're going to talk about is considered one of the greatest films that's ever been made. The 1972 classic, The Godfather, starring Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan. The list goes on and on. So I got some special guests with me for today's podcast, and we're going to welcome the Birdman himself. J-Birdy is in the building, and our producer from the Big Llama Show, BigPapiAngy, both big fans of The Godfather. Welcome to the Be Kind Rewind podcast, boys.
Yo, thanks for having me.
No, man, no. The pleasure is mine. I know, Birdie, you are a huge fan of this movie. Much like our Goodfellas review, you know about this movie inside and out. And, you just have a love for this movie.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like you said earlier, it's the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. I mean, prior to starting the podcast, before we started recording, we said, look, I think you had said it, it's hard to critique a perfect movie like this. And I have to agree. I don't think there's anything in this movie that I'm going to be like, well, that was mid.
Nothing. From the guerrilla filming to shootouts to everything in between, it's just the greatest movie.
Perfect.
Yeah. And it's and what we're going to do is it just so we lay the ground rules out for the Big Kind Rewind podcast. First and foremost, this is an adult podcast. So we are toasting and drinking and enjoying our favorite beverages or smoking or doing whatever you feel you need to do when you are enjoying the discussion of The Godfather. Again, this is friends getting together and talking about movies that we love. And this is an adult podcast. So put those fucking kids to bed. It's time to get started on the Be Kind Rewind podcast. I know you were waiting for that one, bro.
I was, yeah. Put the fucking heads in the pillows. All that other good shit. Fucking says in Sesame Street. It's the fucking Corleone family. Hashtag GOGs.
So I wanted to show you guys this, and this is not like a show off thing, but like I just my love for this movie. Well, first and foremost, I have this book. Let me go to big screen if you would. Big BigPapiAngy, can you help me there?
Just a single screen like that.
Yeah. So I have the book of movies, the essential 1,000 films to see, and in this book, which has tons and tons of information, The Godfather has its own fucking section. Like it's got its own section. Like the other movies aren't featured. This one has its own. And because I love the movie so much, I have the 4K UHD that was just released out in March. I have them all. But you know what? I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot because I think I've owned this movie in every format, but I've given it away every time. Like once I upgrade, I give them away. Which is a fucking dumb move on my part. But
there's an HBO edit to this movie that I have not seen, but it's in chronological order.
Oh, the six, whatever long one, 6 hour one.
It's in chronological order, which is like I would love to view it in that way, but I can't find that version of it anywhere.
So I'm going to make you jealous. I have seen it I have seen it in its restored. I think this was when they just before they released the Blu-rays, they restored the film and they released. I think it's called The Godfather Saga. Yeah, it was on HBO at the time, the HBO app, and it will change. It will change your fucking life. Like that. There is so many deleted scenes and cuts of this movie and part 2 that it's a whole different experience. Like you just I mean, I can't believe I got to see it. I was shocked that it was available. It took me a day and a half to watch it because I couldn't sit for 6 hours.
No, yeah.
I think it's 6+ hours. with extra scenes from each movie. But the chronological order just gives it a whole different feel for sure.
That's
so
crazy.
yeah, man. That's a bucket list item, man.
Yeah, whoever had that idea deserves all the flowers.
Oh, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it like I said, it was something. It was classic, man. It was great. And one of the things we'll talk about is again, guys, if you haven't fucking seen this movie, I don't know why you're listening to the podcast. Like this is a movie that's required viewing. So we're gonna spoil the shit out of the movie. So
I mean, it's 50 years old.
Yeah,
I think the statute of limitations have run out on this fucking movie.
This is one of the few movies that came out before Llama's birth.
One of the few, yes. Shortly before.
Shortly before.
But there's okay. So just when we're gonna get started, we're gonna listen and watch the because this is a podcast. Obviously, you're gonna hear the 50th anniversary trailer. We're gonna watch that one just to sort of get the juices flowing. But I do want to mention that in that Godfather saga with the extended cut, the bodyguards who betray Michael in Sicily, they get their fucking comeuppance. Like it shows him hunting them down, and he finds
cool.
the one guy. I think it's Fabrizio. He finds him working at a pizza joint in New York, and he has him executed. Now you don't see it. They didn't film that piece, but they tie everything together. And I'm like, oh, that's like so satisfying that he fucking found these guys. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's next level shit, man. Like it's just so awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and watch the trailer. So those of you guys listening on the podcast, you'll hear a lot of the audio. We're gonna watch this trailer and we'll give our thoughts and initial reactions to it. So let's see here. Let's get this one going. And if it's on YouTube, it's gonna be copyrighted, but who gives a fuck?
That fucking music.
That's so good.
Go.
Marlon Brando right there, man.
My father's no different than any other powerful man who's responsible for other people.
If I had this part in the picture, it puts me right back up on top again.
This Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
He says there's no chance.
Waltz.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
You know my father. The men are coming here to kill him.
Now you want to get mixed up in the family business?
I thought you weren't going to become a man like your father.
I never wanted this for you.
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Ever.
Greatest movie ever
Michael,
made.
do you renounce Satan and all his works?
I do renounce him. Don't ask me about my business, Kate.
Is it true?
Leave the gun. Take the cannolis.
Perfect. It fits so well.
What a line.
Oh man, just watching the trailer brings you now I want to fucking stream it. I want to do a Discord watch with this thing tonight. Maybe we can invite Gabe to come back.
That'll be a great Discord watch, though.
I think so. All right, so the movie in itself is just so captivating from the first frame, which is complete darkness and black, and starts off with that iconic line, "I believe in America," and I know that this is a commentary, I think, on the American capitalist system and all this other shit, which again, depending on how you view movies and how you sort of digest things, can be a very cerebral movie. But to me, it's just an enjoyable experience to watch the family aspects, and then learn about the gangster lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what drew you in the first time you watched this movie?
I mean, everything, but it's not a mafia movie. Like you kind of just said, it's a movie about a family who happens to be inside of organized crime. So it's a completely, and this wasn't, I've seen the other mob movies first. I watched like Goodfellas and The Bronx Tale, and that's always about a crew within a family. And this movie is about the family, their personal and their business life of the Corleone family. And I think that's what draws me into it more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great sort of like picture of what family was, an Italian family was back in the day, and the just the different family traditions and festivities and things are all outlined in that first opening sequence.
Yeah,
the wedding itself is a mini movie, and I know Francis Ford Coppola said these were home movies that he was making for the large screen. So,
and fun fact, everybody in the wedding is an extra, and he just tells them to just do what you would do if you were at a wedding. He's like, drink the champagne, eat the food, and just hang out as if you were in a real wedding, and ignore the things that are going on around you, which is like a great way to film that part of the movie.
So Big Papi, you just recently watched it, right? Like for the first time.
A couple years ago.
Right. But I'm saying it's not like it's been in your DNA the whole time, right? But
now it is. It's embedded.
So what drew you in when you first started watching this movie?
I don't know about you, but the first 3 notes of the entire first part of the theme, which I have on vinyl here.
Oh, look at that!
No flex, but just the music itself. You just want to put on a suit, smoke a cigar, and shoot somebody who disrespected your family. It's just that type of it just brings you in with that type of attitude, and especially with the first scene that shows up and everything that's going on, you feel so connected to everything already because you're just it's not like you're thrown into it. It's just what's going on, but you want to learn more. You see all these people here, and you see the wedding happen. And you're like, all right, well, I want to know who it is, or what the wedding's for, and it's just along with the music and the cinematography for everything. It just comes together, and it makes this whole really interesting scene, just to where you look at it and you're like, I want to know everything about this family because it seems so mysterious at first, but once you start to break down the literal wedding, you start to see what the family is actually about, and you learn about each character perfectly throughout the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's like a film school lesson on how you introduce characters into a movie. Everybody is introduced. And you get an instant sense of who each person is as they're being introduced. Like, for example, the first scene is the Don, the Godfather, doling out favors at the day of the daughter's wedding. So it's easy and clear to know that he is the boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
and that's a real thing. The favors at the wedding is a real thing. That's something they really do.
Right, and I didn't know that. See, what's funny is as I got older and I rewatched it and I've learned more and I've seen documentaries and I didn't know that some of this shit was real, like real life stuff. I just thought this was really interesting and intricate, but I didn't think it was real. And then come to find out these are true. We've watched enough mafia documentaries to know the rules.
That's a real Italian princess wedding.
Oh yeah,
that's it. The big dress, whatever you want, any food, any celebrity you want to be there, Dad's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go to a wedding like that. I mean, that seemed like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I mean, wine in wine in big old jars, and just people were just drinking them up
and just hanging out. You know, my female cousin just got married. She's the one girl out of 11 cousins. She's the one girl.
Oh wow!
So you can only imagine what that wedding was like. On the water in Jupiter by the lighthouse, open food, open bar the whole time. You know,
they had everything.
Whatever you needed was there.
Now, the great introduction of Don Corleone isn't without like its controversy. You know, obviously we've watched the show The Offer. If anyone is listening and you have not seen the show The Offer, which is I think on Paramount Plus, it is required viewing if you love this movie. Like you need to see this.
Yeah,
watch it. Definitely don't question it. Just go watch it. Yeah. But one of the things that they allude to is that the studio did not want Marlon Brando because at the time he was kind of a diva in the in Hollywood a little bit, and he was a bit difficult to work with. But one thing that they did not talk about in the Offer, and at least I don't remember, is that the fact that at that point in time he wasn't memorizing lines. Nope. and so Hagen and the other characters that were in that scene had lines like pasted to their chest. Yeah. And so he's reading the lines, and learning the lines as he goes. But that's like a credit to his this guy's acting prowess. Like, who the fuck knows that he was reading lines right then and there? Yeah. Like,
they actually do show it in the show. Robert Duvall turns around and he's got the shit taped to his suit. That's why in that scene, Duvall's back is to the camera the whole time. Mm-hmm. He never turns around and looks at the camera.
Yeah, and this is what Francis Ford Coppola's like second or third movie. I think he made one or two films, and I mean, it's weird because he was an unknown, and one of the things that I find fascinating, and I know this is outside of the Godfather stuff, but that American zoetrope that they belong to, the fucking the goats of directing, like cinema's greatest directors, all found themselves in one group. Like Spielberg, Scorsese, De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, George Lucas. Like all these guys belong to this one group out of college.
Yeah,
which is insane to me. Insane.
Yeah. I don't know who that professor was.
Oh shit!
And why didn't he do anything?
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's the crazy part about this movie too. Though is really nobody was a star but Brando.
Right. Right.
More or less, everybody else. This was their first feature-breaking film.
Yeah, because Al Pacino was on Broadway, right?
And he did Panic at Needle Park.
Yeah.
Right before the year before Godfather, which is like it's a great story movie, but it's like almost like a B movie. But good story to it.
He was he wasn't the star that we know today, obviously. Oh. But good God, like what the movie is for Michael and for Al Pacino in particular is the greatest story arc you've ever seen. Like this guy transforms.
Well, you didn't know what happened. You didn't know what was going to happen.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you watch the first couple of frames of the wedding, right? Him talking to Kay, and he's kind of going through the story. He's very innocent. He's very, and then by the time you get to the final frame where they're closing the door, he's a sinister. He is a ruthless killer.
Yeah.
I mean, and the story again, 2 hours and 55 minutes. You don't feel a bit of that.
Yeah.
The story builds him so well. Like what happens to him, the changes. I mean, the diner scene where he shoots McCluskey and
oh man,
is Jesus. Like there is nothing. I mean, I would watch that repeatedly because of the tension. That I mean, I know what's going to happen. I've seen it 100 times, but
there's no bit of like music. Like there's nothing in there else besides just the silence of both of them, like a conversation between everybody, and then just them staring. And then you can physically see him change like throughout the whole scene, which is insane to think about with just his eyes. He just does it with just his eyes.
Yeah. And then the two big things Coppola does to make it even better is put the gun somewhere different than he tells Al Pacino where it's going to be. He tells him it's going to be like in the upper left, and then he tells the prop guy, you'll put it in the bottom right. And then he can't find the gun, so he's behind the toilet trying to find it. and then he doesn't drop the gun right away, like he's been instructed 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, Michael, drop the fucking gun. Get out of there. But he holds
it a little bit and he just
no. All I can hear in my head was fucking Clemenza. He's like, you shoot the two, you drop the gun, and you walk out of there. And when he just sat there, and I'm like, fuck, like drop it, like go.
Yeah,
like
it was like a 15 seconds of like, yo, drop the gun. Like, what are you doing?
Well, it just shows like the character, like because before he was only doing it, because he was in I forget what he was in the army or something like that.
Yeah, he's in the military.
He's in the military. But like when you actually, he didn't kill somebody for, the country. He killed them, because it was for the family. So it like for him, it's like a shock. But in our face, we're like, dude, what are you doing? Like we obviously wouldn't do the same thing. We wouldn't do whatever we were saying in that situation. If I shot two people, or of course one of them was a police guy, and you're like, oh, I just did this for my whole life has changed now because of this decision. And then you're just like, oh, okay, it's just crazy to think about, but in everybody's head, you're like, just run away, just get out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's just insane. But like, I mean, think about this. Like I'm going to show a frame real quick of if it'll come up. Oh, I had to add it to the stream. The power. So yeah, you've got this, innocent start, where he's there with Kay and. I mean, and he turns into a cold-blooded killer, and like it's there in the performance. Now, I only wanted to show you this because we want to talk about the character introductions. You meet Fredo.
Oh,
this is the Roman of the group.
I mean, you meet Fredo, and Fredo's just a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. He's drunk and idiot. Oh my god! Idiot. Oh my god! but what's his name? John Cazale? Yeah. So this guy, I'm gonna see if I can pull up his record, but
I just want to say rest in peace.
Yeah, no, he died way early. I think he had cancer.
Yeah, him and Pacino did one more movie after this.
I think they did Dog Day Afternoon, right?
Dog Day Afternoon. They were lovers, or not lovers, but they robbed the bank together, and yeah. But
every movie he was in, I think for the, I want to say like he was like the Jordan of movies. Like every movie he was in won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Like for like 5 in a row that he was in. And in Dog Day Afternoon he shows his wares, but honestly his arc or his chops get shown in part 2. Like in part 2. I was feeling really, really bad for him. But Fredo in the first one is just a bumbling, lovable brother who just can't get shit straight. So,
Gabe.
And then we meet Sonny, right? Sonny's over here, banging bridesmaids at the party. But Sonny is a great character. I mean, just one of the, and again, not that his screen time is less, but he can carry himself. Like he owns the screen when he's on the.
He's done some movies before The Godfather too. He did some decent movies before The Godfather. Fun fact though, De Niro was supposed to play that part. De Niro tried out for that part, and James Caan tried out for it. Was supposed to be Michael. That would have changed the whole movie.
Oh my god, I saw the screen test, and De Niro as Sonny would have been insane.
But he was great as Vito.
Yeah, no, that's
But then we probably would have got Pacino as Vito and De Niro as Sonny, which who knows, that would have been a whole different movie.
Yeah. I mean, De Niro changes the ruthlessness and the hot-headedness of Sonny, like that. Like
I feel like it kind of takes him away. Like he becomes more of like a bigger character than what he is. Like he's a big character, but not as. I feel like if he was in the role, like I feel like with the attitude, like how he is in like Goodfellas or something like that, it would kind of like pull away from like everybody else. Like he would outshine people more, I think.
Yeah. I think James Caan is a perfect Sonny. I mean, I can't think of anybody else other than James Caan being Sonny.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you would imagine if it was De Niro, it's a different Sonny. It's a more it's a more introverted, angry Sonny, but it's not like the hothead that you saw.
Yeah,
so
it's yells and screams and
yeah. And he was perfect. He was perfect for the role. So like that's, you know, and again, James Caan was perfect, and you know, Al Pacino alongside of him worked really well together. And you got, you know, Abe Vigoda as Tessio. Old ass Abe Vigoda, man.
Yeah. And it's like, this was the movie that wasn't supposed to happen. The script is too long. They don't like the actors. Pacino's too short. Brando's a drama bitch. It wasn't supposed to happen. Right. And if they let Coppola eventually do his thing, and thank you, Al Ruddy, and fucking the movie happens.
Exactly. And it was over budget.
Yep.
They had the actual mafia interfering with the movie.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Colombo and his
anti-defamation of Italians club.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, we love Joe Colombo in the
Offer.
The Offer.
Great.
Oh, yeah,
great.
Joe Colombo.
Yeah. But I think the guy who plays Al Pacino in that movie, I don't think I've ever seen an actor played better by an actor in my life.
Oh my God. I could have swore it was.
It was a photocopy.
They went in a time machine and grabbed him out of it and was like, "Yo, we need you to play yourself in 50 years." Like that was crazy. And then they have the scene when they make him take the Christmas boxes. He's like, "He's too short. Take a couple of the boxes away. You can't see his face."
That's so good.
Now, if there is criticism, I never liked Kay. I never liked her.
No, the sister, or not sister. Michael's wife, his first.
I thought you were talking about The Offer.
No. But I never liked Kay. I never did. I never bought, you know, Diane Keaton as this. I don't know. She seemed very annoying to me. But again, that's me critiquing it for watching it over and over and over and over again. At the time I first watched it, I was like, yes, I love the story. But now I've been watching it a little bit, and I just go, man, every time she's on the screen, I just kind of like, God, let's fast forward a little bit.
And it's a part that anybody could have played. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like she doesn't affect it enough for it to matter if it was her, if it was, you know, whoever the hell. It doesn't fucking matter.
I think she was annoying enough for like us to kind of like root for Michael, you know,
in
the sense of like between their feud that they had, like to make it so that he, like, his point of view seems more, you know, like you would gravitate more towards him because, you know, he just explains it and moves on, and then she kind of just like holds on to it, so it just kind of makes it so that maybe I doubt they tried to make her annoying, but I feel like, you know, watching it, you're like, all right, like just go away. I want to see.
But then when you find out what she does to Michael and to the baby, it's fucking crazy.
Horrible.
You took a son away from an Italian man. That's crazy. You know,
that was that Pacino scream, man, and that slap.
Yeah.
Oh,
he like fell.
Yeah.
He ran and fell.
He went full body Superman punch on that shit.
He only had daughters at that point, right?
No, he had the one son. He had the one son and a daughter.
That could have been the heir. That could have been the next one, and you took that away from me.
Yeah, no, that to me was, I mean, that's again, Diane Keaton is a good actress. I don't have any issues with her acting ability. She's you know, been in the industry for over 50 years, but I just didn't like her in this role. I didn't like her in this part, but that scene solidifies why she is there. I mean, that's a pretty powerful scene. She plays it up. That you hate her. You hate her at that point. I mean, it's I love it because Francis never lets you. Francis, like I know the guy, Mr. Coppola.
Put some respect.
Sorry, sir.
Put respect. Never lets you feel comfortable about a character. Like you kind of go, okay, I like this character, and then something else happens. You go, shit, that's why I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kay. Is like, I don't like her. I like her. I don't like her. And then she pulls the abortion card, and good God, and I hate her at that point but the reasons that she does it are justified. Like
they're allowed.
Well, she makes it clear.
Yeah,
I'm not bringing one of your sons
into this world,
into the world that he's living in.
Yeah, but the way he looks at it, you don't have that right. I have that right.
Exactly. Yeah,
is my son. If there was a daughter, she's yours. Is my son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's. I mean,
and then when he closes the door on her, when she visits the kids, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta go," like he's coming, and then he just pulls the kids away and just closes the door.
Yeah,
it's like because he has no feelings, no hatred, no feelings. You no longer exist.
No, I mean she's gone at that point. So again, we're jumping around, but that's fine.
Yeah,
this is what this movie does. So at the party, you meet Johnny Fontaine, right? You know
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, famously written after Frank Sinatra, which I think he has. Again, I love diving into like the little like behind the scenes stuff. That slap that he got from Marlon Brando, that you can act like a man, was a true slap.
Yes. Yep.
And he shook him up, and he started laughing. You can see him break, like just ever so slightly.
Yeah, he has that little smirk on his face, and it fits the scene.
It does.
Yeah. It's almost like I slapped you. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Listen to what I got to say.
and then like I think Brando plays off of it because it's like he slaps him and he's like, "You can act like a man. What's the matter with you?" And then he starts to make fun of him. Oh my God. He does. And so like that just brings it to like a realism. Like that's what your uncle would do to you. That's what your godfather would do. He'd slap you and tell you, like snap out of it, you little bitch. Like
and the fact that your godfather is the Godfather is
right.
Crazy. You can, if you were an upstanding guy, you really get whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like he knows you're not gonna make him look fucking stupid. You'll get whatever you want.
Exactly.
What did he say? He said, "Oh, wait 3 days and you'll receive a phone call."
Yeah. This Waltzy guy, he's gonna call you. He's gonna offer you the picture.
Yeah. How are you gonna do that? I'm gonna just give him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And that's an iconic line right there. That's one of the staples of the movie.
Yeah. And for you guys who don't understand what that means, do it or you're dead.
Exactly.
That's the whole. Just do it or you're dead.
Well, and what's funny is Michael explains it to the audience. Like he uses K as the exposition. He tells her, it's like, Luca Brasi put a gun to his head, and he said either your brains or your signature will be on this paper. Yeah. and so that's the offer you can't refuse. So when he says it again, you're just like, oh, I get it now. So like in 1972, when you're watching the movie and you don't know anything about it, you instantly go, okay, I know what the fuck that means.
Yeah. And the way he talks about his family to Kay at that table is great. He's like any other man who has people who follow him.
Mm-hmm.
Or he uses different wording, but
like any other powerful man.
Yeah, that's it. Because at the end of the day, they're businessmen. They're not criminals. They have to do things to make their business succeed.
Exactly.
And they're soldiers, and soldiers don't go to hell. Quote from Tony Soprano.
But it's they offer protection to people who can't protect themselves, right?
That's it.
Who can't go to the police. Right, for favors and for fees, for sure.
That's it.
But yeah, so it's and all the characters are flushed out. So you meet Don Barzini. He's at the party, and Barzini becomes the main guy later. You got Luca Brasi who's there. The Tatayas are not at the party. Obviously, they have some beef with Sonny. So it's a great, and then obviously Tom Hagen, who Hagen, I know, Big Papi, that's one of your favorite characters.
I love Hagen. He's such a good character.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
Tom Hagen, man, that's like he. So like you get to see the cunningness of Hagen in this one, because he makes that horse head he makes that horse head scene happen,
which is real in real life.
Yep.
That's an actual horse head, which is like crazy. It looks so real. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But think about this. Like, okay, so in 72, like in the 60s, you had like the James Bond spy thrillers. You had like those over the top, shitty, sci-fi movies with the big fucking ants and
the Blob and fucking
yeah. You have all these like cartoony, entertaining type movies, and then late 60s, early 70s, you have these gritty filmmakers coming out, putting like real shit on screen, like real, real life on screen. And The Godfather blows the doors off of everybody. It's like they go for it. Like what do you have to lose, right? And so that horse head scene, I know, was controversial. I know that they had a lot of flack for it, but it's so effective. It's so effective, and it tells the story so well that like it go out for what you love, right? Like you say, hey, I love this horse. Look at this fucking horse.
It threw me off.
$500,000.
I didn't even notice the foreshadowing until he said something.
Good thing PETA
shoulders.
wasn't around. And there was no PETA.
I think PETA still has issues with that scene.
Yeah.
That's where we put the disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed. Hey, Birdie's an animal. He's an actual bird.
Yeah, straight up.
He can.
So
taste the beak, motherfuckers. Taste the beak, motherfucker.
So the movie transitions, and we move from obviously meeting everybody to, it's kind of the first levels of business, right? We've got this first, again, we have the Johnny Fontaine issue with Waltz, convincing him to get the part. Obviously, waking up with your fucking horse head in your bed will do that to you.
Which also phenomenal scream. Like he
my god!
It was like,
and they zoom out, and you can hear it from further away. Oh man, perfect. Awesome!
I don't know if you know this, but in my recent reaction to The Bodyguard, in The Bodyguard, they are actually in the mansion. Whitney Houston lives in the mansion that Waltz lives in.
Oh shit! That's
really
wow.
Watch it now.
Look at that! I do gotta watch it now. My question is, what happened to the rest of the horse?
It's probably just on the floor.
It's just in the stable.
In the stable. Yeah.
Well, yeah, probably.
He thought his nightmare was over, and then he goes in the stable 2 weeks later, and there's the body.
That horse is glue, man. That horse is fucking done. But I know Sinatra had a lot of issue with the portrayal of this character, and I know that he dealt with being, linked to the mob for years, which he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's not mince words. Like he definitely was involved. I don't think he wanted his business out there.
Yeah, but everybody already knew. But now it's like, the movie did it, the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah, and I don't know that if he appreciated. I think the guy's name is Al. It's on your album cover. I forgot his name. The guy who played Johnny Fontaine. I don't think he appreciated that guy because he wasn't very manly in the movie.
No,
he was kind of sheepish and a little, kind of like a little bitch. And so,
yeah.
I mean, if you were to put a tough guy on there,
a
tough burly guy to play, Johnny Fontaine, he probably would have been all right with it. But this guy was
Sinatra's short anyways.
Yeah, but he had a reputation and a thing to him. Him
in The Offer, whoever played him in The Offer is so. It just made me laugh every single time he was on the screen.
The casting of The Offer is almost as good as The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's phenomenal. Now, one person we didn't talk about before we move on to Sollozzo in the first sort of scene with Hagen and everything. And I will say this: it worked. It worked in Godfather. Like casting Talia Shire, which is Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
Mm-hmm.
It worked. Like that worked, and it was great. She's a great, phenomenal actress. Later she becomes Adrian, and she makes me cry every time I watch the damn Rocky movies.
Her story arc is crazy.
Fantastic.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, she starts off as a bit character, like really, like and then she just evolves.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch.
So
And
sweet.
then, but then when her dad was no longer in charge, she loses that power of being the princess.
Yeah.
You know, your brother owes you nothing.
Michael.
Yeah. You know, and then Luca Brassi's wedding scene is great too. When he's sitting there trying to do his lines. Oh man, awesome.
Which we know it's him practicing, right? Like
it's him practicing, yeah.
I mean, Luca Brasi, that guy was a fucking mess.
Yeah, he's a fucking professional wrestler who actually drove for the mob, and he ends up playing the part in the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
nuts.
I like the fact that they filmed him practicing, and then when he went to talk to the Godfather, he fucked up his lines.
Yeah, and then they keep it in there.
Yeah, exactly. I am on the day. Like, oh no, he fucked up.
Yeah, he's like, just tell me what you want to tell me. You know, he's like the one guy who doesn't have to come in there with the same respect as everybody else because there's a mutual thing between him and the Don in that room.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you've done things for me that I'll never speak about. I've done things for you that you can't speak about. What do you want? No. And all he did was go in there to say thank you and congratulations. Waited in line, not to ask for anything. Because he knows he can ask him anytime. He doesn't need the wedding to ask him for a favor.
Right. And he's like, I know you are busy, so I will leave you.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. My longtime friend.
But yeah, exactly. And that was great though. That was great to kind of see that. But you know, quickly we progressed to Sollozzo. So Sollozzo is the cocaine dealer or the poppy, you know, the drug business, which you know Don Corleone does not take kindly to. I think but foreshadowing of the future of drugs, which is, he said it himself, it's a nasty business. You sell it to your people. You're gonna eat yourselves up from the inside. Like he foreshadows the future of what this is gonna do to the families, and it does. It absolutely came, you know, to light over the course of the 80s and 90s, and you know what we saw, which is a lot of these guys. I think we talked about it before in passing, which is, you know, harmless vices like gambling,
prostitution, and construction are timeless businesses.
Right.
You know,
but you said it, like you said it to me, right? How much time do you get, you know, for
that's
a
the
bag
biggest
of
thing,
coke, right?
That's the biggest thing, because you know, you go and beat somebody up in a store, they sentence you to 2 years. You know, anybody can maybe do 2 years. You know, but you get caught with an 8 ball of cocaine, that you're looking at 35 to life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Most people were ratting their mother jaywalking 20 years ago to avoid 35 to life. You know?
For sure.
That's the biggest thing. And that's in the original Cosa Nostra code, is no drugs. And that's in the real Cosa Nostra code, no drugs.
Yeah. And again, this is the scene where we're seeing here is it's Sonny and, you know, meeting with Sollozzo with the Don, and he's telling him like, hey, you got to go for this deal. And you know, he honestly at that point he's just like, no, like that's not what we're doing. You know,
yeah, we make plenty of money now.
Exactly. And what Sonny couldn't see beyond was the long game, and that's Sonny's downfall, right? Yep. I think he said it. I think Don Corleone says it later in the movie. He's like, he wasn't. He's just a bad Don. You know, he couldn't get past. Like mentally, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like Sonny is a henchman. Sonny is an enforcer.
He's Sammy the Bull.
Right, but Sonny is not the head of the family. Like
he can never.
You know. And honestly, if Michael never comes back, he is the head of the family, because you can't pick the Robert Duvall character because he can't be. Fredo's a complete, you know, Fredo's like, might as well get a Stevie Wonder to do it. You know, and so and Michael doesn't come back, who Vito doesn't want to be part of this life at all. Sonny becomes next.
Yeah.
You know, which is, you know, that family would have died out anyway. That family would have died out. It would have just been over.
And then, you know, what what Sonny does is when he does take power, when the Don goes down, he hits back.
Yeah,
and he causes
That's his first thing.
Well, he hits back. He hits Tatalia's son. He's going to war. He's killing off henchmen left and right. And Hagen's trying to convince him. He's like, dude, you're leading us down this path. We're losing money. We're not making money. Like, you're fucking up. And no one will listen to Hagen, but Hagen is the smartest guy in the room, man.
Yeah. And the reason he's so smart is because he doesn't know everything. So he can speak from an outside
he's an outsider
perspective. You know what I mean? He's not a wartime consigliere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a non-war consigliere. So he can come in and speak from a lawyer's perspective outside of the family with a calm head, you know. Which, you know, that character is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, but like again, Sollozzo is formidable. Like I didn't realize. Like I thought, again, first time watching the movie, or first couple of times, Sollozzo, I'm thinking, okay, you came, the Don told you no.
Yeah.
Fucking eat crow and fucking get out of here, right? But Sollozzo had backing, and Sollozzo had some pull. So Sollozzo pulls the hit, man. He goes after, Don Corleone. He gets to them. He gets to him, right? And you get this amazing, again, tension-filled hospital scene when Michael is visiting him at the hospital.
Everybody's gone.
Everybody's gone. McCluskey, took care of the men.
Yeah.
And I just, again, another, just an amazing piece of filmmaking. Like, the tension that was there and the fucking.
When he stands out there, is that just put your finger in your jacket. Pick your collar up.
Pretend.
Yeah. And then the car drives by and you're like, oh, what's about to happen?
And that's the famous that's Enzo, right? Is that Enzo?
Yeah, Enzo, yeah.
Oh, for your father.
Yeah.
I made the cake for your father.
Yeah. Yeah. And then fucking Hagen shows up with the private with the private security. It's sanctioned. I'm a lawyer. Fuck off.
And, and what's great about that scene, and I read this. I don't know if it was in the making of the movie, but the guy who plays the Enzo, the guy without the gun, he truly was shaking because this was like one of his first scenes ever. Like he's never been in a movie, and so like when he's doing the whole cigarette thing where he's like lighting it, he's shaking. He's fucking shaking because he's never been in a movie and he's nervous. He's standing next to Al Pacino. Again, you don't know who Al Pacino is, but at the time,
little man.
But you're little man, right? It's a little tiny man. But it's his first kind of thing, to be on a movie set and he's being filmed and like the nerves got to him. But that was perfect for what his character was going through. So it's the little nuances like that, the little things that Francis Ford Coppola keeps in the movie. That gives it that hint of realism. I mean, and that's also where the McCluskey fucks up Michael's jaw, like, which it's all good.
Yeah, got the beer, guys.
That's all right.
It was empty, though, so no foul.
That's right. The beer is still good then. But no, he fucks up his jaw, which stays with him the rest of the movie. Like for the the next 3/4 of the movie. Michael is having like issues.
Yeah.
So,
he hit him with a mean one.
Oh man, he did. Man. He got him good. Stand him up.
Yeah. I wonder if Francis was like, "Yo, really hit him. Just rock him with one."
Yeah.
We told him you're gonna pull it. We told him you're gonna pull it. So don't worry about it. He's not gonna move. That's some Francis shit. Like you'll just hit him.
Oh yeah.
One clean shot.
No, man. I just, it was just something that, again, it's the slow transition of Al Pacino, of Michael Corleone, the little things that were happening to him that made him more and more jaded from what his outlook was on life. And so that started it. That started the evolution. One, you're trying to kill my father, right?
And then you just punched me in the face.
You just broke my jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about was Paulie, the little guy Paulie who was watching Don Corleone when he got shot, right? Remember he called he called him sick, right?
Yeah.
That guy gets it in the weeds over there in New York with the Statue of Liberty. That's a great looking scene, like just the car pulling up in the sticks and the weeds and him getting shot. That's the famous
leave the gun.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Take the cannoli.
Which has been used in so many movies. That line right there has been used in so many movies. It's amazing.
I mean, Clemenza. Again, I just found like this scene was more of like an art house type scene. It was like such a great like camera work and the Statue of Liberty in the background, and it's just
you're not focused on the car.
No,
like, your last thought is the car. You're like, all right, he's going to pee. It's like whatever. Like it's just a regular scene, and you hear it and you look. You're like, oh, never mind. We should have been paying attention on the car.
It's just a beautiful scene.
It is.
Yeah, and that's Francis's like doing
his
thing was like he would give you these lush huge landscapes, and then there's the dirtiness that's happening, and then we move on to again the scene we talked about, Michael shooting McCluskey and Sollozzo, right? Like that. I'm going to see if I can find it here in our recap. But that to me is just like the epitome of this movie. Like his acting changes, his face changes, the outlook changes for this guy, and it's just amazing to watch. Mm-hmm. Here's Clemenza kind of teaching him a little bit about what to do with the gun. And again, this is where you get the expectation of what's going to happen in the scene. It's foreshadowing. You're going to come up, you're going to shoot them both in the head, and then you're going to walk the fuck out of there. And he does.
And he shoots him in the throat. He shoots him in the throat and then in the head. And that's a great scene because the Pope is behind him when he's holding that gun in the basement.
Yeah.
The Pope is in the picture frame behind him.
And then there's
his face. You just see it in the way he looks. He's just not.
Boom. In the throat. And look at the waiter.
Yeah. Everybody can see him. Everyone can see his face. Yeah. But like, look at this, man. This and we learned this in The Offer, and I think I had learned this in other documentaries, but this was the scene that saved the movie. That up to this point, they were like questioning, what are we doing here? Like, why are we spending all this money and time? It's not violent enough. And then they showed him.
For the record, he didn't shoot him in the head yet, and the bullet hole's in his forehead.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
For the record.
It went up. It went up his neck.
Yeah. And then he didn't even shoot him in the head yet.
Yeah. And then these are actual real pictures. So they start showing actual footage of actual, crime
Mob
scene
heads.
Photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Look
is
at the
great.
cops laughing their ass off.
And George Lucas put this together, by the way. I don't know if
wow, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So George Lucas wanted, because again, these guys were in this group together. George Lucas wanted to help on the film, and he told him, he goes, do these quick serials for me. Do these like transition scenes for me. So this was all George Lucas's work. And then I know that Steven Spielberg and Brian De Palma and Scorsese all helped in like telling Francis what their thoughts were. And Francis would show them the movie. He would show them pieces of the movie, the dailies and whatnot. And they would critique it. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, hey, Spielberg,
critiqued by them.
Yeah.
Hey, Spielberg, you want to take a look at this short film I just made?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Take a look at the scene. You want to tell me what's wrong?
But the rest of that fucking group in some sort of way got to be a little bitter. Like, damn, I didn't fucking direct this movie.
Or like they'll take pieces from me, like, oh, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Brian De Palma made classics. Like Martin Scorsese makes Mean Streets, and he makes fucking Goodfellas, and he makes Raging Bull. Fucking Spielberg makes Jaws, and he fucking makes Jurassic Park.
E.T. fucking
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But he didn't do The Godfather.
No. But each of these guys, it becomes like the icon of their sort of areas, and it's just
like the Mount.
I just can't
Rushmore
imagine that. Like that's
Yeah, Godfather, Deer Hunter, Apocalypse Now. That's crazy. Are all within, crazy. Mind you, they all pick the same actors, which does not hurt.
No, it does not hurt. It does not hurt to do that.
You know, when you have Michael Jordan on your team, you're probably going to win the championship.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, and listen, and you had your pick of who you wanted. Like these guys, like once their names got out, they were the hot directors. You can get anybody you want.
Yeah,
but you still go for the same Pacino, De Niro, Pesci, you know, over and over again. Yeah. You know,
those are first rounders right there.
The rest of you are fillers. You know, you might have to play a role.
That just means you're like, wow,
that's it. I'll come off the bench on a Jordan team. You know, you still win the ring.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll be an extra.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, it's just one of those insane things where each of them had a say in this movie. Each of them had little pieces of the movie.
It's crazy.
So, so Michael gets into trouble. He goes off to Sicily, right? He goes over, this is what I loved about the movie. It was like, and I don't know if it's been described this way. I'm sure it has. I'm probably not the first person to say it, but it's like it lets you breathe for a minute. Like there's the opening wedding sequence. It's joyous. It's fun. You're learning about the characters. It gets intense. The dawn gets down. Then you got some, like tension after tension after tension. And then you can breathe a little bit, just a little bit.
Goes to Italy, falls in love. You know,
it's like a whole side story that you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, there's no eeriness, no suspense. You're like, all right, cool. He's in Sicily chilling.
When I first watched it, I did not think that. Like, I was just kind of like, why is this here? Like, you're kind of like at first I was like, oh man, I was like, can we go back to like the cool stuff? I was like,
and then the car blows up, and you're like, boom,
oh, okay,
there it is. You know, it goes from asking the dad if he can marry the daughter to car exploding when she's learning how to drive.
But then you're like, okay, I feel like it's cool to see that he was able to get in, like Michael was able to get in and get out of the business so quickly, and then you're like, okay, he's fine, but it comes at a cost of him leaving. His wife, and then he has to go all the way to, Sicily. And then you're like, all right, that kind of sucks. There's some negatives to it, but you got out of it, which is crazy to think about. And then it just follows him. And then you realize that, not only has he turned from like an outsider to now, like a soldier for them, but now he's becoming like the top guy to get because he committed the crime.
Yeah. I think for them to send him there was for his protection. Obviously, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about Apollonia. That lady was like magnificent just to watch her on screen. She was truly just a beautiful woman, like on screen. Like I felt like Michael. Like I got hit by the thunderbolt. Like. It's just insane and
better than K.
Better
than K. Michael's like, I have this
K so much.
She's so pretty that he falls in love with her when she's walking with a basket in her hand.
Yeah,
he's like, yo, who's this? And what does she look like naked?
And it's funny is that it takes again. This is what a good movie does is that it takes you and lets you focus on that story, that you focus on that piece of information, because prior to that, and I think we might have missed this, but prior to that, you have Sonny going with Carlo. Like you had this scene here again, amped up violence. Carlo's beating on a pregnant woman, and then you have the Michael love story, and it's just like I'm there for it all. Like that's how I view this. It's like, man, I am like I want more. I want more of each scene. Like there's just not enough you can put in there.
The movie wasn't long enough. At 3 hours, the movie's not long enough.
Exactly, exactly. And what's tragic, obviously, is that you kind of in those short 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know what the scenes were with Apollonia, but you fall in love with the character. You say, she's just, he's in love. It's It's very romantic. She's got that broken English, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah,
you know, she's doing the whole thing. Yeah, you know, like they give her little things that you start to fall in love, and you go, "Oh, I love this character." And they fucking blow her up.
That scene though, right before the car blows up, when he knows the car's gonna blow up, is
so
when he turns around over his shoulder and he's like, "No," and then that's the end of that.
Yeah,
then the bodyguard just slides to the fence.
Well, yeah, he's like, Fabrizio, where are you going? And he just like looks, he looks back. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm out. Peace."
You did my job.
Then Michael turns around and he just knows right there that, you know, but he's got a backup plan in the United States.
Yeah,
it's okay.
He comes back. He comes back and he goes with Kay. But what was it, again? It wasn't that it was cool, but it was like. The realistic was there was that dummy hanging off the car. Like I don't know if you remember seeing they blow the car and you see kind of like the body there, which I was like heartbroken. I'm like, that sucks, man. This guy just watched his wife get blown up,
and then he has to go back home to Kay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. He's like, I gotta go back to this.
And wasn't she like 18 years old?
She was.
I think so. I think she was really young.
Like, she was like 18 or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's dead.
But she would have been a true kind of Italian style wife, like the Don had, like his wife.
Yes, well, I was just about to mention her too. She plays a good character too. Just a little bit, you see her here and there.
Yeah,
you know, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, she's. But again, it's how sort of women were kind of depicted at the time, right? Yes. She was very loyal to the family. She kept her nose out of the business. She knew what it was,
but she doesn't know.
It doesn't.
You don't question it,
right? She doesn't get. She doesn't stick her nose in. She doesn't want to know.
No, that's not her role. Her role is to knock on the door. But hey, you guys want tea, coffee? No, all right.
How you doing?
Exactly.
You know? But she in the back of her head, she also knows she's the most powerful woman in the state of New York.
Exactly. She knows.
You know, she can walk down any alleyway in the dark and she's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
and that's got to make you feel some sort of way to know that you are the most protected woman in this where you live. There's nobody
apparently not, because you got blown up. But
I'm talking about the Don's wife.
Yeah.
You know, you're the most, besides her. I mean, obviously not because she gets her ass whipped, but you're the most protected woman in the state.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to make you feel a certain type of way.
Yeah, and this calm. Like, and this Carlo guy, right? This fucking Carlo guy, like, what is his problem, man? Like you have the world at your feet. You married the Don's daughter. I mean, you got, and they let you, and they're going to give you a living. They're going to make you, be able to earn,
but never tell him about the family business.
Right.
No,
he said you give him a living, but he never tell him about the family business.
I love how he actually got beat up. Like,
he actually whoops his ass. But this scene right here is great too.
Yeah,
so sad
too. Well, Carlo is the catalyst for Sonny's demise. They play, Brazzini plays on Sonny's shortcoming, which is his anger, his temper, and so he told Carlo, just beat that Guinea princess up. And I'm telling you, I mean, Sonny had. I mean, it was telegraphed. It was telegraphed but it telegraphed because I've seen it, But the first time, I'm like, what the hell's going on at this toll booth? This guy just dropped a quarter.
Yeah. And then he drops underneath the window. He drops underneath the wood.
Oh my! Shocked. I was shocked.
Yeah. Then they block him in.
Yeah, that's just messed up. They got.
But he goes out the way he's supposed to go out. Not an execution to the head. Not a fucking quiet death. You got lit
everybody
up.
Yeah.
You got wet up by the whole crew.
Yeah. This is where Francis, like, the storytelling is perfect. Like, this is how he's supposed to die.
Mm-hmm.
This is how this man is supposed to die. Like, this is how it's supposed to go down.
Like, aggressive, like, just literally, like, his attitude is like mean, like just angry.
He died like he lived.
Yeah,
he died like he lived. I mean, he was a hothead, and He got what was coming to him. I love the fact that and it doesn't show it.
Here.
Yeah, it didn't show it there, but I love the fact that after they shot him up and he was down, they shot him some more and then they kicked him in the face.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly how he would handle the situation too.
Yeah, if there was flopped, that would have been him.
If it was flopped, he would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But see, that's again the little pieces and nuances of realism that they got from knowing people in the mafia, knowing people in the mob that they could talk to and get guidance from to say, what would you have done? I'm telling you, the guy is dead. 1,000 squibs. He got shot, with every fucking bullet they can think of.
A loafer to the face.
No, he got a couple of shots while he was down.
Yeah.
And then the guy, after he was done shooting, he just kicked him right in the face. I'm like, man, that's like cold-blooded, man. I love that. But it was sad. And this again, this is why Marlon Brando's performance.
Oh, this scene right here.
Yeah, I mean,
my boy, look what they did to my boy.
They massacred my boy, right?
And that scene at the wedding we missed too with this guy, with the fucking funeral home director, when he asks him to kill the rapist of his daughter. And what did he say? He's like, you don't even ask me for a cup of coffee. You never once called me as a friend, and not once have you called me the Godfather.
Yeah.
What is?
I mean,
and this is all he had to do to repay the favor. You got off easy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is all you had to do.
I mean, and it was pretty, like when they pulled back the shroud, they do kind of show his, I guess it's in makeup and stuff. There it is. You see how his hands are right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just levels of realism to the movie that, and you see the Undertaker's face, like he's like, oh shit, I've got my work ahead of me. Like this is not going to be easy. Yeah, you see, there's his face right there. He's and then Brando, Brando with small movements of the eyebrows and the mannerisms.
Yeah,
I mean,
does it?
Yeah,
I mean that's
the offer scene when he turns into Vito Corleone from Marlon Brando is the camera angles they use. They use the mirror to show you what he's doing. It's just shoe polish and cotton balls.
Yeah. And he turned into the Don. He turned into that character.
Yeah.
And then, I think he tells Hagen at that point, arrange a meeting of the families.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody together and let's squash this out, because now he wants Michael back and he wants him back safely.
This scene is based on a true story. They really tried to do this in real life at the Appalachian meeting. They tried to get the head of every Cosa Nostra United States in one room to completely split the United States once and for all.
Yeah.
And the cops got a tip on it and arrested like 26 head members of the Cosa Nostra families, which is, we can only imagine how big they would have gotten if that meeting actually would have happened. And they would have if they would have evenly divided the country and said no war, we can control everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'd have some bloodshed, but it would not be at the next level. But yeah, I think this is where Brazzini sort of shows his hand, right? And this is because I've heard a lot of analysis of how did Don Corleone figure out that it was Brazzini, and I think this is where he tips his hand. I think this is where he's sitting at the head of the table. He's kind of calling the shots. He's got a confidence about him, and I think Don Corleone can see that. I think he senses that this guy had to be the guy pulling the strings, because Tattaglia couldn't have done it by himself.
No,
because and I think he called it because Tattaglia's a pimp.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
He says Tattaglia's a pimp. There's no way he could have pulled this off without the backing of somebody else.
Right there during that meeting is when Vito Corleone realized that. When did he think he became me?
Exactly.
This is my show. You're just a cameo in an episode, and it's just
and I think I love the fact when he says, I'm a very superstitious man, so if something should happen to fall on Michael, or God forbid something, he goes, I will not be very forgiving or something like that. He laid down the law. It's like, no one touches Michael.
Yeah,
and that's
he's supposed to be neutral. He's not, you know.
He wasn't supposed to get into it.
No, you know, you're part of the family, but you're not part of the family. You're Corleone, but you're not, you know.
And I think at this point, Michael still wasn't calling shots. I think at this point,
he was working for.
Well, Michael did his part.
Yeah,
he did his thing, and he got in trouble.
Yeah,
and he had to be, protected. But he wasn't. I don't think at this point they thought he was the head of the family. I think they understood that he was a civilian that was caught in the crossfire here.
Yeah.
It was still Clemenza, Tessio, and all these guys that were still running the show for the Don. Mm-hmm. So I think that was genius, because when after that meeting, and I think there's a time pass, right? There's a time lapse that happens because Michael comes back and he meets with Kay, I think, and then she asks him, how long you been back? And he's like, I've been back a year.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Trying to find another piece of tail first.
But I think what that does is that it gives him time to learn from his dad, right? And to understand the business. And when he was ready then he thinks he had everything under control, he could bring Kay back into the fold, because it's still too dangerous for her to be part of that. So, again, just the change. And I like, again, it's exposition. Like, they had to explain how all of a sudden he's showing up looking like, in the suit and the hat and everything.
Slicked hair.
All of a sudden, right? Like, and that's why when they're talking, it's like, I've been back a year. Okay. Yeah. So time has passed and you learned the business.
I will say that there is a super Bird, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a super in-depth analysis on the different stages of Michael's life. I forget what the YouTube channel is. Oh, it's Just an Observation. That's them. But they go through the first movie, and they show the 3 different stages that he has, going from the goody two shoes soldier to the head of the family, and then they explain it in 2. They do part 2 as well. So I don't know I just thought, because it explains Michael so much better, and it gives such a good it almost it's an appreciation for him, but it's amazing how they break it down, and they show the different parts of him and how he changes, and where his loyalty changes from Kay to the family towards the end of the movie. But yeah, definitely check that out.
I'm definitely gonna have to give that a watch.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and there's so many documentaries and so many behind the scenes things that are out there about this movie that we can watch for days on end.
Yeah. And then the sequel is just as good, if not better than the original. Depending on who you ask, it's just as good, if not better than the original.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's an achievement in itself. You have the movie, literally, the movie is considered, it's AFI's top 2 or 3. It's up there.
Yeah.
I think it's
number 2. I forgot what number 1 is, but it's number 2.
Citizen Kane, I think, is number 1 or something like that. Which I watched, and Citizen Kane is mid. But
that'd be compared to The Godfather.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, it's considered a classic, must watch. It's going to be preserved in the archives of all film history for the rest of its life.
It'll be the only movie Hollywood never touches to remake.
Exactly.
Everything else can be retouched, redone, but that'll never be, never.
And I would tell you, it's blasphemy. You can't touch this movie. You can't remake this movie. No. Sure, you can build from the lore, right? If you want to do
part 3.
You know what? I think for this for the podcast, I think we're going to probably do part 2, and we'll do part 3. And I'll honestly, just as a preview to that, part 3 unfairly, it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. If it's a standalone movie,
right,
it's top tier. You call it The Godfather Part 3, and it gets criticized against the greatest 2 movies ever made.
It's hard to beat it 3 times in a row.
25 years later.
Yeah.
But again, you have the movie that is a pop culture phenomenon. It's quoted, it's referenced, it's in everything, and you have to follow that up. Like even making part 2 should have been like a tall task. Like shit, how are we going to topple the greatest movie that's ever been made? Again, they didn't know that at the time, but like it was very successful.
Just do the same thing again.
Right.
Just do the same thing again. And I like that it's not a sequel, it's a continuation. It's part 2.
Part 2 to the original story.
It's not Godfather 2, it's part 2.
Exactly.
Watch it.
Now, so then again, so we get, Michael taking over. We get the Don just kind of, coaching him along. Hagen is slowly being phased out a little bit. And this is kind of starts the transition for Hagen as there's future plans for him. But people are questioning, and I think they're questioning. I think Tessio and Clemenza are both. I think they say to the Don, like, I've never once asked you to form my own family, but I ask you today because they did not trust in Michael. And Michael remembers that shit. Michael remembers that shit because you did that in front of him, in front of his dad right then and there. Yeah. And that's something that I think people sleep on is like, you fucking, like, this is like Michael is the most ruthless Don that's ever going to be, on film.
Yeah.
And you questioned his ability in front of him, in front of his dad.
Yeah.
Like
in front of the smartest Don to ever be.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
The guy was so smart and thinking about the long term that he adopted Hagen just to turn him into a lawyer. And since he's not family, he can legally defend them in court. And you keep him out of certain conversations, and he can defend you better than anybody else that will ever be a lawyer.
Yep.
Yeah, you champion the lawyer.
And he knows the business. And he knows the business
inside and out. So he knows exactly what they can legally do, and he has a defense before they even get caught.
Yep. So it again, that I think goes into I think when Don Corleone says no, you trust my judgment, then you trust Michael. I think that's when Tessio turned.
Yep.
I think Clemenza was going to be honorable, and I think he said that. He says Clemenza's loyal. He's a soldier and he's loyal. Tessio was the smart one, and it was about business for Tessio. And the minute he didn't get his family, he didn't get the thing he thinks he deserved, he went to Brazzini. So I think that's kind of I love that aspect of it where you're now starting to form alliances. You're the Don is retiring, and Michael is now the head of the family, and he's again, he's just a different breed. He's a different guy, more calculated, more ruthless, more cutthroat. And then you meet Mo Green over here.
It's fucking.
I didn't want to miss.
He's like, you smacked my brother in public.
You got to straighten cocktail waitresses 2 at a time.
I had to straighten him out. You had to straighten him out. Yeah, the cocktail waitresses. Yeah.
What do you say?
But his look, when he looks at him and says, "You smack my brother in public," you got to straighten him out.
Yeah, he's
you would have thought this movie came out in like 98 by how good of a movie. You would have thought they would have been great. That but they didn't have no inspiration. There was no fucking movie that they could have taken any of this from. 100% original, and this is what we get.
Yeah, exactly.
You get Dr. Evil petting a cat on Austin Powers.
I mean, like again, the Mo Green thing is great because now again, I don't know that they were going to make a part 2. I don't think they were.
No, or they so successful.
Yeah, but it interlaces and leaves the story where it can continue. The Mo Green thing is the first hint that they're going to expand. And I know it was just to sort of show Michael's ambition, right? To show that he wants to go beyond New York.
Yeah. And go and be legal.
Right. The whole thing about being legitimate, right?
Being legitimate, yep.
But it sets up the Nevada move, and it sets up part 2, which, again, genius. You know, again, I don't think they did it on purpose. I just think it was
because the movie could have ended right there. That could have been it. That could have been the end of the story, and you would have been just as satisfied as if we didn't get a sequel. Exactly.
So it was great to see them kind of expand and show that Michael is expanding. Now, the next part that happens is kind of, it's a sad part, and it sucks because Don Corleone is a loved character, but it's his time to go. Like, of old age, and he's playing with his grandson, which is just tragic. That is he died with his grandson right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have this whole sequence of him falling, and again, he lets you breathe. Francis lets you breathe for a little bit. You think it's just funny. He's doing the boo, he's scaring him with the oranges in his mouth.
Sucker with the face.
Yeah, he punched him right in the mouth. He Hasbulla'd him.
Yeah.
Hit him with the Hasbulla.
And and again, I think we didn't see it coming, right? It just you wouldn't think it was going to happen, but it happened, and it was sad. And then that's when Michael goes full blast. Yeah. And prior to that, the Don told him, the guy who comes to you, offers you protection, is the guy who's going to betray you. Yeah. And it was Tessio, Abe Pagoda.
Yeah. And that's because that's what they do. They walk up to a store owner, offer him protection. If not, they're going to turn on you. So he tried to pull one of them on one of them. And he knew it was coming before it even happened. And not for nothing, the third movie would have been better if that grandson would have became the next Don. And they could have referenced that scene right there as, I see my grandfather die. What do you think I was going to become?
Exactly. And then, as much as we give shit to Sofia Coppola for being in part 3, that's Sofia Coppola right there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
She's the baby in the movie.
That's cool. I didn't even notice that.
That's
cool. Sofia Coppola. So she was in the original Godfather.
Hey, she was better in the first one.
She was better in the first one.
Oh my god, that's a great joke. That's fucking hilarious.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good one.
She was better in the first one. She was a fucking infant.
That's great. That's great.
It was.
I'm about to say that randomly.
They just did it. They just did her dirty in the third one.
I'm gonna post that randomly on Facebook 3 years from now, and I'm tag you in it. You better remember. She was better in the first one. I'm gonna tag you in the
first one.
I think if we rewatch these, we're gonna have to make that joke.
Yeah, that joke is the highlight of the whole episode.
That's it right there. Clip it.
Yeah. Clip it.
I won.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. Now, again, the eyes of Al Pacino, the look. Take the first scene you saw him in, doe-eyed, innocent, war hero, just a nice guy. To this.
I think the slick back hair does it for me. It really makes him like a mean guy. Like, he looks like he's committed plenty of sins. Like,
what makes him look sinister?
It's the hair.
He's looking at her through his eyebrows.
Yeah, he's looking
the way he looks up that's crazy. His head is down and he's looking at her through his eyebrows. Is super menacing.
Like, he may be looking up, but you're the one that has to look up to him. Like, that's
crazy.
It's crazy to think about that. Just with that look that he has.
But they say that's. I don't know if he meant to do this, but they say if you're trying to intimidate somebody during a conversation, is to look at them through their eyebrows.
Yeah.
And then they always like, what the fuck is this dude looking at?
He's looking past me. He's not looking at me.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's on purpose, but that is a psychological trick that you can pull on somebody.
Yeah, I mean, but the intensity, and again,
It's
Al
crazy.
Pacino in this performance, again, from Broadway and from working park shows or whatever the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
To this, I mean, this is the again. I posted a TikTok when I was watching Godfather 2, where the entire scene, it was a 3 or 4 minute scene, was nothing but eye contact and nothing but just and Al Pacino delivers the entire message of the scene without saying a word.
Of 3? Was it beginning of 3?
No, it was the end of 2 just before he kills Fredo. There's just music. It's music and them looking at each other, like Fredo looking at him looking at Fredo, and then him looking at
whoever the guy was.
Yeah, I forgot.
The guy who kills him on the boat.
Yeah.
Right. And so go ahead, Bert.
You get this look in part 2 during the party when he tells Fredo, "I know it was you."
Oh my god, that whole scene.
Yeah, I know. But then he says, "You get in the car. You're still my brother." And Fredo's like, "I don't know if I should believe you." And I think he was really like, "Dude, get in the car, like because I'm gonna kill you." These Cubans
I don't want
aren't
anybody
gonna kill
else
you.
to do it.
You could come with me. I'm still your brother. And Fredo said, "No, fuck you."
No, exactly. I'll take my chances with the Cubans.
And he also turned his back on the family there, which is you should have just got in the car. Even if you were to die, you're gonna die anyway. So just get in the fucking car.
Exactly. But this is the famous scene where do you renounce Satan? Right? Do you?
I do.
And I do. And then he is capping fools left and right.
Yes.
He's taking out the heads of the 5 families.
But they don't believe they're doing anything wrong.
No.
They do it for a purpose. They're soldiers.
Yeah, I mean,
that one was a good kill. That's a good kill.
Yes. That's what's crazy about the whole thing is they really go to church every Sunday. They pray. They wear crosses because they're not doing anything wrong in their mindset.
They're doing it to sit for them, like it's to help them in the end.
Well, it's family above everything. When they make you a made man, they tell you that.
Oh,
it's us, and then
this one was good.
I mean, Tessio just has to plead. Now, remember, like I said, Tessio and Clemenza both challenged him. You think Michael's going to give you any bit of leniency?
Nothing.
Nothing.
He killed his own brother.
Yeah,
that's crazy. You don't think he's going to off you?
Yeah, and Tessio said, "Hey, for old time's sake, Tom, can you get me off the hook, Tom?"
Yeah. And he knows.
Yeah. But again, it's the actors, man. Like you feel every bit of the emotion that they're feeling.
Yep.
And then this is one of my favorite scenes because we know that Carlo was involved in planning Sonny's demise, but we don't know to what extent, who the people are. And he tells him, he's like, "Carlo, I'm godfather to your son. You think I'm gonna make my sister a widow?"
Yes. I do.
But and that's what I'm saying. Like, and he says it with a straight face, and he's like, "Just tell me the truth because it insults my intelligence."
Yes.
And Carlo falls for it, man. He's like, "Yeah, I did it. It was Brazzini." Yeah. Carlo wasn't built for this life.
No, their dad knew that. He said, "Of course, give him a living, but never tell him the family business."
Yeah, he was not made for the business.
No.
That's for
Neither
sure.
was Fredo.
No, he wasn't.
Sonny and Michael would have been the best duo. If Sonny lives and they're 1-2, that would have been.
I don't know. I like what's his name? The lawyer in.
Well, I don't mean like for the quality of the movie, but for the quality of the family. If Sonny lives, that 1-2 punch is crazy. That's the real yin and yang.
Yep.
And then Sonny would have been. Yep. Oh, this scene right here.
Yeah, but you go ahead. You said if Sonny would have been around.
I don't remember.
But yeah, this right here, ultra violent right here, like realism.
Yeah.
And then again, Talia's performance in this she's pleading with Michael. I know you did it. I look at the papers. That's your husband. That's your husband. Like she's like, I am sold at that point.
I give you one chance to ask me about my business.
Right.
Did you kill him? No.
Yeah, and
I didn't specifically.
Look at Michael. He's trying to control everything, and that's Michael's. That's
Michael's.
His MO is to have control of the entire situation, and that's why he's so scary, and he loses control here.
Oh, great!
I won't. And see, this is the character break that makes Al Pacino, one of the greatest actors. It's like you know that he needs control.
Yes.
He needs to control every aspect. The character needs to control. Kay puts him out of control. Like we've never seen Michael react in an emotional way
that he can't control.
No.
Right.
You only really see him get like this here and when they shoot at his house.
Right. And that's in part two because
that whisper to one yell back to a whisper, and you fucked up.
Yeah. And then she asked him, like, did you kill Carlo, right? I think, and he's like, nah.
Close the door. Yeah, but that's the line before that when he tells her, when he's like, I'll give you one chance to ask me about the family business, and then he lies to her.
Yep.
The one opportunity she had with
And listen, Clemenza is thanking his fucking lucky stars right there. He's kissing his ass.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But that's what happens when you're a real soldier. When you really do what the rules tell you to do, you'll be fine at the end of the day.
Yep. And again, Clemenza kisses the ring.
Yep.
He accepts the Don Corleone and the new Don. And again, greatest close to a movie right here. Music hits. Fuck you, Kay.
Great.
And that's all she wrote for you. But it's just such a fitting end to the character. And again, like you said, we could have ended the movie right then and there, and it could have been no other sequels, and it's the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah. It's great. And as far as I know, as soon as they got their original box office numbers, they went into production for the second movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like the next day. They got it in the newspaper and they were like, all right, we can start filming tomorrow. And that was that. Everybody back together to do it one more time.
And I think in the offer we find out Ruddy had set up deals with different companies.
Yeah.
So they can have everything ready for part 2.
Yeah.
And again, he was leveraging that the movie was going to be good.
Yeah. See, Ruddy kind of, in the offer anyway, they compare him to the mafia during what he's doing and how he's getting shit done,
Yeah.
And then when he really can't get something done, he calls Carlo Gambino. When he really can't do it.
Yeah. He gets help. Yeah. He gets help.
And fun fact, this movie is the first time we see the made man ceremony. We've never seen that. When the prick of the finger and the burning of the card. Mm-hmm. This is the first time that's ever been seen by somebody who hasn't been in that room in real life.
Yeah, yeah. And again, the realism. They had the people that could tell them, hey, this is how we would do it. This is what we would do. Because, Francis didn't know about this. He just knew about some things. And Mario Puzo for putting the story together, I think he had said it. These are things that he saw in his neighborhood. He was writing about the neighborhood in which he lived. And, when he rewrote the screenplay, there was a lot of input that was given to him. But again, Puzo is great in his own remark. I mean, I love the fact that Puzo gets to write Superman.
Yeah,
which is really weird.
As a result of this movie, like he gets to write Superman.
Yeah.
And they paid him a lot of money, and he didn't do anything other than say, "I'm the writer of The Godfather."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
And I'll say this: the first Superman was good, and Puzo put together a good story. but Superman 2 was way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like in The Offer, what did they say? He goes, this book is making the Bible nervous.
Yeah.
It sold so many copies that at one point it was on pace to pass the Bible in sales, which is fucking remarkable.
Yeah. It's insane.
Every hotel drawer has a Bible, and this
I
book
was like, hey, you beat that.
That's crazy. You write a movie about a family.
Yeah, exactly.
You write a family movie.
So again, that's kind of the synopsis. We've kind of went through the whole movie. Is there anything that we missed, Birdie, that you like loved about this movie? Is there anything that we missed or that we didn't cover?
The Luca Brasi murder.
Oh yes.
And they stab his hand on the bar and then choke him.
His face was like so disturbing.
And you kind of had the feeling that the Don knew he was sending his friend in to not come back out of that room. And Luca Brasi kind of had the feeling that I might go into this room and not come back out. But that's the one person that he would do that to. Do that for.
And then the fish.
He was loyal. He was loyal to the Don. And
Luca Brasi.
But even when he told him, and they repeat this beat in part 3, by the way. But he told him, tell him you're not happy with the Don. Tell him you want to. Yeah. And even when he was there, he didn't say he wasn't happy. He was just like, so what's in it for me? What the fuck you got for me?
Yep.
He was kind of brazen about the whole thing. And I think he knew he may not walk out of there.
Because even when he knew it was better for everybody, he couldn't say, I'm not happy with this man.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy. You know?
Exactly.
And, there's a whole backstory to them too that we don't know about. There's a whole list of things that they have done for each other that we have no idea of why he's so loyal to that man. There's your prequel right there.
Right
there. The Luca Brasi fucking Vito Corleone story.
You'd have to just cast an actor to be Luca Brasi, but you'd have to have Vito as like a ominous character in the background. You couldn't have like someone playing Vito. You just have to be like, no, Vito sent you on this thing.
I pulled in my laptop.
Oh shit. All right, we're gonna wrap up, man. We're gonna wrap up anyway. All right. So parting shots. Anything before we adjourn the podcast? Again, we had a lot of fun breaking down this movie. We talked about our favorite parts, the favorite scenes. There are so many nuances to this movie. Again, if you have not watched this movie or you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. It's available on 4K in every format. I think Paramount Plus is still playing it. I think streaming. I believe they are. If not, you can rent it for like $4.99. I mean, come on.
Which is a blast. I mean, it should still be $10 at least.
It should still. Paying a premium for this movie.
Yeah.
So, Birdie, any parting shots? Anything else?
No. Thanks for having me. Look forward to part 2.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna come back for part 2. BigPapiAngy, you got anything?
I'm definitely coming back for part 2, but it's my favorite movie ever.
For sure. Listen, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming on the Caan Rewind podcast. It was a blast to have some drinks and talk about the greatest movie ever made, The Godfather. I often say that, I'll say The Godfather is one of the greatest movies ever made. And even though it's not my favorite movie, my favorite movie is not comparable. Like, again, I have love of movies for different what's that?
Yeah, what is it?
What's your favorite movie, Llama?
My favorite movie is Scarface.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
okay. My favorite movie of all time is Scarface.
Caliber.
But
fun fact, box office flop.
Yeah, exactly. I would tell you, Scarface is far from perfect. It's a far from perfect movie, and I love it. I think we lost the bird.
Statement.
I think we lost the birdie. I think his laptop died. All right, well, guys, listen. I want to thank J-Birdy, even though he's on the screen. Thank you, J-Birdy, for being a part of the Caan Rewind podcast. We appreciate your insight and your input. We look forward to looking at The Godfather Part 2. That'll be a future episode that we'll be doing.
If his laptop charges.
Yeah. His laptop died.
Hopefully.
BigPapiAngy, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's episode. Again, The Godfather. Go out and see it. Guys, I am the Big Llama. This is the Big Llama Show. This is the Be Kind Rewind podcast. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching this on the YouTube channel. If you are listening to us on podcast, please make sure to give us a good review on the podcast, a 5-star review if you're on Apple Podcasts. If you're on Spotify, or any other medium, make sure that you give us a good review and come back for future episodes. Make sure that you subscribe to our channels. Guys, thank you so much. I'm the Big Llama. This is Be Kind Rewind podcast. And Be Kind Rewind, guys, it's movie night, and we're going to see you guys on the next one.
First off, I don't care what you people say. Never follow rules. I'm a trendsetter anyway. Okay, I march to the beat of my own drum. They say I need rules in my life. Well, I got some. That's 1. Kill the competition. 2. Be a loyal dog. 3. And if they snitching on your man, send them to the morgue. 4. When you party, go hard till you hit the floor. 5. If you didn't see me do it, what the hell you asking for? Welcome to my world.